and there's two. All right, awesome. So, oh fuck, hold on, wait. On air. Okay, good. So that was the issue. I had us going way too high quality.
All right.
So I've dropped it down to like a fraction of what it was. So I'm looking on YouTube. We are streaming on YouTube. I'm looking on Twitch. We are streaming on Twitch. Dang, awesome.
Nice.
I got, like I said, I have gigabit internet. Like, I don't understand. I should be able to stream insane amounts of shit. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. But I think
We're
the
in the
real
grid
issue is
now.
my computer. My computer's
Yeah,
just too,
I think that's it. You just don't have the processing power.
yeah, it's old and shit. And plus, like, I'm constantly, like, I run, because I use my computer all the time, uh,
hmm
like, and not just for, like, browsing, like, I don't know, porn or whatever people do. Like, I'm like, constant, like, I use really high CPU shit for my computer constantly. And so I never restart my computer. And I think that's a big problem. It's like, probably
Yeah,
need to give it
probably.
a break every once in a while.
Give it a
Anyway.
breather.
Yeah, or whatever. I don't even know if when I was younger, like I never left my computer on. We would always like restart our computers constantly, and
hmm
then like come to find out, like oh, actually, when you restart your computer all the time, it fucks up the hard drives,
Yeah,
and like that's
I
why
don't
hard
know.
drives fail. But now, like with modern hard drives, I don't even know. I feel like the technology is always changing. I don't even know if
Well,
modern
I
hard
don't.
drives are
So
susceptible.
yeah, 'cause I don't even have a hard drive. Like I replaced it with a solid state drive. I don't even know if that like affects it anymore.
Oh, okay. So
I don't know.
speaking of hard drives and like technology, this is crazy. So before the show started, we were talking about broadcasting and how crazy broadcasting has changed. Right, when I was a general manager of a college radio station, all the equipment we had was old as shit. It used like all these crazy ass connectors that I had never even seen before.
Yeah,
Like the board was crazy. I don't know if you remember
yeah.
going to that
It
radio
was
station,
yeah, it was crazy.
and it was just really expensive to upkeep and everything. And we had built a server back then so that we could have the radio station broadcasting 24/7. And the server cost us like I don't know, like $2,000 or $3,000, uh,
Jeez.
and because we had to buy a bunch of separate hard drives so that we could create a RAID array of hard drives. And I think that RAID is like a I can't remember what it's like redundant array of something I don't know, but that thing cost a ton of money. All right, hold on, I'm gonna shut down some of these windows I got going. It cost a ton of money, and it was really complicated to set up, and we had to buy like a specialized enclosure that had some hardware installed in it that would allow us to create the array. And
hmm
now it's so crazy because hold on, I'm trying to. So if I go to Amazon and I look at our Amazon wish list, I think that we have on here like an 8 terabyte or maybe like 16
Yeah,
terabyte
I
drive.
saw that like a retarded amount of like space. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
it's really not expensive. Hold on, I'm trying. Dang, you added a ton of books on here.
Yeah,
Technological
I like dumped
slavery,
a bunch of shit.
the theory of moral sentiment,
I just
capitalist
like I was just
realism,
thinking of shit. And I was just like dumping it on there.
Kindle. Oh, I guess did you put the Kindles or did I? I must have put those
No, you
Kindles.
put the Kindles.
Okay, Seagate expansion desktop, 10 terabyte external hard drive.
Yeah,
Uh, USB, it's $200.
that's insane.
I know, right?
And also, I mean, because hard drives are a lot cheaper than solid state drives, but like that's crazy.
Okay,
It's
that's a
such a
good point. That's a good point.
it's such a retarded amount of space, and that's really funny because I remember I had gone on a tour of the PBS like station, and like I saw all
Oh
their
yeah, yeah.
servers and stuff,
Uh huh.
and when they showed me, they're like, oh yeah, this is where like all of the KCR stuff comes through because they just like pump it through their server or something, and it was like this like little like slot
Yeah,
like in one of the it was just like a little thing, like it wasn't even like a massive, it wasn't even like its own server really.
yeah. But even that is super old. Even that shit is all like
Yeah,
outdated,
I bet. Yeah.
right? So I don't know. It's crazy. Let me just. I'm gonna post all this stuff on Twitter. We don't even have any. Do we have any Twitter followers yet? I think we had one, and then they unfollowed us right away.
Yeah, I remember you're like, oh, we have a follower, and I was like, oh, really? And I kind of looked, and like nobody was on there, and I was like, oh, it
Oh,
must have
that
been
was
like
we had a
instant.
Twitch follower. That's why.
Oh,
All right. You know what the thing is? I think I'm bad at using hashtags.
I don't think that you need to use hashtags. I think that they're unnecessary.
Oh well, I just put a hashtag.
I mean, you can. I think it's funny if you use them like ironically.
Yeah, I used to, but nobody gets it.
I think people get it because if you use them
Do
like an
they?
old person, like use them incorrectly, you know what I mean? Like just like put hashtags in the middle of your sentences and stuff. Like it's funny. I don't know.
I guess. Oh yeah, yeah, that is funny. Oh, YouTube streaming is not a.
Like,
I don't know.
oh,
It's
I
not a. It's not
hashtag or I hate it when my hashtag whore wife cheats on me
a.
with a
I love.
hashtag black guy.
I guess hashtags are like the new quotation marks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just funny.
Because you know how people use it, they use quotation marks incorrectly all the time. Like they'll say like, quote unquote hello, or like quote unquote welcome to my house or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So man, I've been setting up all these. So the only difficult part about setting up this podcast is trying to coordinate all the different services. And so I've been trying to set up our OnlyFans account for a while now. OnlyFans fucking sucks.
That's it.
Discard. Oh, this is the okay. This is the reason I wanted to set up YouTube because, but for us, I use YouTube Live. So hold on, I'm trying to. So this is our live stream URL. Okay, great. Live streaming. Podcast. Live stream. Yeah. So the reason that YouTube sucks is because it's like so not YouTube. I'm like doing multiple stuff. The reason OnlyFans sucks is because I have to jump through so many hoops in order to make it work. Like I've had to upload my like ID and do like a picture of myself, and it's got to be
You know
like
what's funny?
ultra.
I actually heard like some people like bitching about that on Twitter. Like they're like, isn't it kind of weird that like they're trying to create like a database of sex workers? You know what I mean?
Yeah, basically, right?
Because like I mean because like literally like you can post like shit of your body or whatever and like never post your face, so like you're still like completely anonymous.
Yes,
But
that's
like
what I do.
if they like make you have like create a database where it's like here's my like driver's license and here's all my shit, like it seems very bad to have that information like in a space, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like it's like,
I felt the
well, so
same way.
even if they don't use it maliciously, which like I don't know, I think that's a lot of like power to give a company. Like, what if it gets hacked? You know, like what if all this shit gets doxxed? Like that's pretty terrible.
It'll definitely get hacked. Well, okay,
Yeah,
so you bring up a couple of good points.
because like what
The
about like
first,
like if you're going to like a fucking job interview or something, and they're like, oh, by the way, like you came up like what is this gonna like come up in background searches that you're like a sex worker?
well, so okay, that's something that I think about because I know people who posted, extremely graphic, explicit images of themselves all over the internet.
Yeah,
Many of them like when they were underage because like that was the cool thing to do, I guess, in the early teens, the early 2000 teens, and
yeah.
like that shit's still all over the internet. It doesn't go away ever.
Hmm.
It's constantly being saved and reshared because a lot of the you can't tell you can't tell if you see a naked person's body. The difference between somebody who's 23 and somebody who's 15, right?
Yeah,
Usually, right? So a lot of this shit gets reshared and reposted on the internet all the time by people who don't know that they're reposting, illegal content. And
that's crazy.
so, like, my point is that this even when it's illegal content, even when maybe you have tried yourself to scrub this stuff from the internet, you can't delete it all.
Hmm.
It's always there. And to your point about the hacking. So first off, yeah, like once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah.
but then about the hacking, I've mentioned, right? Like I work at a gigantic employer, like I think the largest employer in the state,
Hmm.
and my information has been hacked out of this employer at least twice in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Everything, my medical information, my pay information, my social security, data, like all of it's out there. It's nuts. And if you think that this organization that has a huge stake in protecting the rights and the information of its employees can't get its shit together, just think about a porn site like OnlyFans. It's
Yeah,
been hacked.
yeah, definitely. And if it hasn't, it's going to be. You know.
In the early days of Twitter, this was crazy. Twitter was constantly getting hacked, and the reason was that the password for much of their stuff was password.
That is so funny.
Yeah, I mean, it happened multiple times. No, I mean, Twitter had nothing useful to be hacked in 2007, 2008, but it still happened.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that it's just nuts. Also, I don't know, like with the development of, so I was talking to one of my neighbors about cryptocurrency, and we were discussing, like, because he's like really into cryptocurrency,
Yeah,
and I'm actually not a big fan of cryptocurrency because I just feel like it's it's just like this. I don't know. It's just stupid. I feel like when you have these crypto servers that are consuming more electricity than entire countries, like why?
yeah. I
And
think there's a
also,
lot of issue. Well, I think it's something that like most people should not get into.
oh yeah, I'm not even talking about like the stupidity of the investing. Like that definitely is a
Yeah,
problem. I guess my point was just because I'll go back to what I had mentioned earlier. I think I don't know if we were streaming at that point, and it's that most new technologies are just used for porn, like Dropbox.
yeah,
It's just a big giant place for people to store porn. Snapchat. It's just a way for people to exchange porn. I don't know, like any what is like an encrypted chat, like Telegram or something, right? It's just a way for people to exchange porn. And I think that Bitcoin is basically the only reason you'd use Bitcoin is for like, I don't know if you had heard like what's a big giant porn site, like I can't remember the name of it. It's the biggest one. God, hold on, it's right on
Pornhub.
the
I
edge of
don't
my
know.
tongue.
Well, like
Uh,
Pornhub.
Pornhub, yeah. So Pornhub was has been has gone over to only using cryptocurrency for transactions.
Wow, that's really interesting.
So I've heard. Like I'm actually of the mindset that why would I ever pay for porn when there's free porn all over the place, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I feel like we've talked about this, but yeah,
yeah,
there's so much of this shit online. Like,
any porn you could possibly imagine you can get. Like, what
yeah,
is your weird thing that are you into? Like, black people that have red eyebrows and blonde hair, but also have only one breast. You can find that,
yeah, I'm sure you could.
right? Like that is a thing. And
And there's
so,
probably like a subreddit dedicated to that.
yeah. And if there's not, make one, and then before you know it, you're gonna be moderating like a subreddit with 20,000 active users.
Yeah, and you're gonna like be like planning cons and shit, like
Yeah.
conventions.
Oh my god. Now that we've said it, we something I hate. I hate like listening to or reading people's social media, and they have like inspirational quotes, like, or they say something like, "I'm gonna speak this into existence."
Oh, like that, like manifesting shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna
That,
manifest this. This year,
that's
I'm
basically just
manifesting a good
prayer.
year for myself.
That's
What's that?
basically prayer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
But it's
all the
like,
same thing.
whereas like in religion, like gods can like smite you if they're angry with you. Like you can't smite somebody if they. Anyway, my point being that yeah, I think that it seems that cryptocurrency is only really used for bad things, and I feel like anyone who says like, oh, crypto's like totally environmentally friendly because we don't have to print coins and shit, we still got to burn up tons of energy.
Yeah, I don't. I think that the environmental impact, like that's like a solid argument. Like I don't think it's good. I don't know if like oh they're using cryptocurrency for bad things is like a good argument because like I don't know like U.S. dollars get used for like awful things. You know I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, paper money is bad.
Yeah.
But but I would say paper money is bad for the same reason that crypto is bad, because it's anonymous.
Yeah.
That's I guess that's my point. And I'm a huge fan of anonymity. I think that everyone should, like, anonymity should be a
Should like
right.
strive for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that people should get doxxed on the internet. I mean, honestly, like, I don't even think that. I don't think that. I don't know. Like, I don't know how far it goes. I think that the government needs to be accountable, but I don't know that individual government agents should be doxxed, if that makes sense.
What do you mean, like oh, like if they had like every police officer's like address in like a database that was publicly
Yeah.
like available? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like, I don't think that. And I'm not a fan of the police, right? So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think that I see this is it's like so hard to have these conversations because like for example, I don't think that George Floyd is a martyr, right? Like, I think that he was kind of objectively, like, not a good guy, and he probably
I
would
don't
have.
even want to like. I don't know about that, but
I
I don't
think
know.
he was not a great human being,
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
so okay, and this is why it's hard to have this conversation. But
Yeah, yeah,
he should not have been killed. Do you like?
yeah,
Does that make sense? What I'm saying
yeah.
here? And so, uh, I think that, and like for example, there's this guy. God, what's his name? Ethan or McClain. What's the guy? Do you know the guy I'm talking about? Something McClain.
I don't know. Was he like a
Yeah.
cop or something, or I don't know.
No. He was a guy. He got killed by police.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I do. It was some guy like walking home from work, and he was like just got fucking like beat to death by the cops, right?
Elijah McClain. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this
And
is
everyone was like, it's like he was just so, like this nice guy.
Yeah, so like this is something like I don't really understand. Like, Elijah McClain was, from what I can tell, like, just an all around amazing guy. Like, he went to work, he had a job, he didn't shit on people, he didn't do bad things, right? And he just got, I mean, he got murdered by the police.
Yeah.
It was insane. Now, I'm not saying George Floyd was not murdered. George Floyd was also murdered. But
Well,
I guess
so
my
I
go
think that
ahead.
the reason that I don't know what was your point? Are you just saying like why did this case get chosen instead
Well,
of like that one?
Well, I have I think, yeah. So why did they choose George Floyd? And I think the reason that George Floyd was chosen as the poster child of Black Lives Matter over Elijah McClain, which was, I feel like,
Or any number of other cases because there's
yeah,
like tons of
and
them.
because there's so many people that get killed, and like, again, I want to say George Floyd should not have been killed by the police. It is fucking terrible. But
Mhm.
like, why did the media latch on to George Floyd? And I think the reason is because George Floyd was a fucking huge black dude. He's like, he looks like what white people fantasize black people to look like. He
Yeah.
acted like what white people fantasize black people to act like, right?
Hmm.
Cashing counterfeit checks, knocking women up and leaving them behind, in and out of jail. Like, he's the white fantasy of a black person.
I think I mean there's probably some truth in that, but I think that the reason that it became like such a big thing was like because there's literally like uninterrupted video from multiple angles of like a cop kneeling on this guy's neck until he died and then continuing to kneel on his neck after he was dead. Like it was just such a like very clear cut like this guy just murdered somebody in front of like a bunch of people. You know what I mean? It was a very clear cut case, so it made it so it's like it was a case that like when it came in front of like the courts, it would there's no way that like they could let the cops off on it. You know what I mean?
But see, but with we have tons of video like this, right? Like, there's this infamous video of the police raiding, I don't know, it was like a hotel or somebody's house,
Yeah.
and the guy, I don't know if you've seen this, the guy's on the ground, he has his hands above his head, and
Hmm.
the cop keeps saying, get on the fucking ground, put your fucking hands behind your head, and the
Yeah.
guy puts it, he's like, I have my hands on my head, please don't
Yeah.
shoot
Yeah.
me, I'm on the ground, put your
That's like
fucking
always
hands
the
behind.
case too.
And then the cop just shoots the guy to death. He shoots him like 9 times or something. And the video is very clear. The guy is begging and crying, please don't shoot me. I'm on the ground. My hands are behind my head. I'm kind of
Yeah.
paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it's basically like that. And the cop executes the guy. So like I don't but this guy, I think this guy was like he was either a white guy or a Mexican guy or half black or something. He didn't have the look. He didn't fit the narrative. That's my point. I think that the media they have to have, it's like why do certain actors make it? It's not because they're talented, it's because they have the look. And I think George Floyd had the look.
Yeah. I think there's probably something to that.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with what you're saying.
Thanks for tuning into the College Educated Whites podcast, where we have our opinions on race and.
Yeah, exactly. Well, of course, we are the best people to have opinions on race because we live in the white bubble. The white bubble. White bubble. Hold on, I gotta go to manage our stream so I can see like if is anybody like bombarding us with.
Yeah, like sending us our address.
No, I'm gonna fucking kill you. So yeah, to bring it back to our doxing conversation, this is kind of what I was talking about. All right, hold on, I got to move all these to like one area so I can easily access them. So here's our YouTube live and here's our Twitch live. Beep. Nah, nobody cares. Nobody's watching. Average watch time of our viewers 3 seconds.
Wow, that rocks.
I know. Oh my! The problem is, I think that our show is similar to many other like talking head white people shows, except that like I don't believe in all the things that all these other talking heads white people say. Right? Like my point, for example, about George Floyd, I feel like is a nuanced feeling where I think that the police were wrong, but also George Floyd was probably like, gonna get it at some point anyway because of his lifestyle. And I think that's an opinion that liberals and conservatives both hate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about like George Floyd's like personal life, so I don't know if I want to like jump to, stuff on that, but.
Yeah, well, so let's go back to doxing then. So this is kind of like what I was talking about. I don't think anybody should be doxxed. Like, I don't think that, for example, the cop that killed George Floyd should have been doxxed. I mean, I don't think that George Floyd should have been doxxed. And how was George Floyd doxxed? He was doxxed because he's a criminal. So his records are all over the internet. Mm-hmm. I think that people should have a complete right to anonymity. Even if you do something that's wrong, quote unquote wrong, you should be allowed to be anonymous. And part of the reason for that is because times change. Times change super fast. Like, who is the guy, James Gunn? James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Right? Like, in 2000 whatever, he was making all sorts of jokes about, like, pedophilia and, like, homosexuality and stuff.
Yeah, like making tweets, like they're just jokes, yeah.
It was okay to say that shit back then. Times have changed really fast, and now it's not okay to say that stuff anymore.
Well, and also, so like, I don't know if he was like a famous person in like 2012 or whenever he was like doing this shit, but like, I don't know, like when you're nobody, you can say whatever the fuck you want. And then like, once you have like some sort of following or something, like then people are going to go back and be like, oh, look at all this crazy shit you said. And it's like, yeah, of course I was saying crazy shit. Nobody was fucking listening,
Yeah. He's trying to get traction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure
I'm literally screaming into the void here.
Well, so okay, that's an interesting thing that about people just. So okay, there's a couple things there. Like, Twitter's a fucking. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, just like screaming into the void. Literally, like you can say anything on Twitter.
Yeah,
and it's fine, except you cannot ask Kamala Harris to show you her tits.
Yeah, and you can't explicitly threaten the president. I guess that'll get you banned instantly.
I don't think so. People make crazy threats against Donald Trump all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen people get banned for that. Like, I don't know. I think it just depends. Like, if you hit it right with the algorithm, like it'll ban you.
Yeah, you gotta have that. Gotta sync up with it. Well, yeah. So I think that I don't know. Well, so that's the thing, right? Like, if this had been like 1990, and that guy James Gunn or whatever the fuck his name is, something Gunn, if he had said out loud at a party like well, I fucking hate faggots or something.
Yeah. Everyone at the party would be like, yeah, same here, brother.
Well, not only that, but it would have evaporated out into the ether. It would have been gone.
Yeah.
But now, chances are somebody took a video of that and they have it sitting on in their iCloud somewhere. And in 20 years, when he gets famous, they're going to pull it out and be like, look at this.
Yeah. It's like we have this surveillance state, but like everyone is also participating in it. You know what I mean? It's not just this like federal thing. Like it's this thing that everyone is willingly participating in.
It's just like the Texas anti-abortion laws.
What?
We
How?
We have deputized all human beings
to
go out and hunt for other people, because that's what people do, right? They go through 30,000 tweets with a fine comb to find the one that they don't like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Fuck all this shit. I don't know. So okay, I want to go back to this this Black Lives Matter thing. Can you imagine a society without the police?
Yeah, well, so I've thought about this, and like, because like, you know, they're always talking about like defunding the police and shit.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I don't know, like maybe it would be fine with that, because like, you know, so what happens when you call the police? Like you wait around for 40 minutes, and then they may or may not show up. Like, you know, you're already fucking murdered if you're going to be murdered. So what's the fucking point? Like, I don't know. Maybe we just don't even fucking need them.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't. So personally,
hold on. This just in. Wait. So we posted a poll about a week ago, and the results have just come in. Do you want to make your point, or should I read the results right now?
Oh, what are the results?
So the poll was, when is the best time to have an abortion? 0% of responders said 6 weeks. 33% of responders said 6 months. Another third of responders said 6 years, and the final third of responders said, "Nah, I only do anal."
That rocks. Nice.
That's the most response I've ever got from a poll.
And it's
okay. Go ahead.
It's
so
pretty much it's pretty much just a clean sweep. Like it's flat. Like no, there's no consensus.
Yeah, there is no consensus. I was only allowed to put 4 options, so I guess I should have had another option like I'm keeping my messed up baby. But I didn't have room for it.
I'm keeping the tard. I'm keeping my retard baby.
I was trying to think, like, should I say retard?
I don't think it matters. I don't know. Who gives a shit?
Okay, so I think like words like retard and gay, those are like my generation's Oriental and Negro.
Yeah.
Like it's not okay to say Negro anymore. And now suddenly it's not okay to say like, oh, that's gay. And I think, oh
yeah,
man,
it's like I've
always said that.
I feel like in a lot of media that like I've read or like consumed like movies and shit, like Negro was like that was like the soft word to say, like at one point.
Well, you also had the hybrid. You had the Nigra.
And you have your jigaboo. Is that a
yeah? Well, I'll say like so. Nigra was like how it's like you didn't say Negro, but you didn't say the N word, but you had like you kind of put them together. So it was like it was kind of socially acceptable to say
Nigra. I feel like that's like a female Negro.
That'd be a Nigress.
Like a Nigra goddess. Goddess.
You know what? You know what I think is so crazy is like even in our language, we totally treat black people like animals. Because like, is there any other ethnicity or whatever, any other group of people that we have a female? Oh, Jewess. We have a Jewess. Okay.
Who the fuck says that though?
Well, but it's an outdated term. Like nobody says Nigress anymore. Nobody says Jewess anymore. But like blacks and Jews, those are the two groups that get shit on the most, right? Like I think objectively in history, they've been the shit on the most groups.
I think it's like Bill Burr does a bit on this, like where he's talking about how it's like Like just like the language of saying like, oh, like a black guy, like it sounds like you're fucking like just vomiting out the word. Like you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
some
agree.
fucking black guy, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
It just has like this way, like the way the diction is, it feels like you're just like spitting it out, you know.
But it makes sense because English is the language of white people.
Yeah, it's like the language of the conqueror, you know.
Yeah. And so of course like we're going to certain words in our language are going to about people that are not, quote unquote us. Now I should say like I am not English. Like my background is not English. Like that's not where my
Mhm.
people are from. So I'm speaking the
I don't know,
language
man.
of the
I'm an
conqueror
American,
also.
so
Yeah, exactly. I speak American.
yeah.
But
Anyway, but about the
yeah, so
police.
defund the police.
Yeah, I don't know. So like I've thought about it. It's like because of course I feel like your knee jerk reaction is like, well, like of course we need like some law to like or some we need somebody to like keep the peace. Like that, I feel
Mm.
like that's like the easy thing. But then when you think about it, it's like, well, do the police even fucking do that? Really? You know? I mean, I feel like if you call the police, it's much more likely that they're just gonna shoot your fucking dog or like shoot
Yes.
you, or that you're gonna end up being arrested, or nothing is gonna fucking happen, you know. And it's like I don't know, because like we've had like plenty of instances where it's like some fucking drunk guy like crashes a car through our fence. And like, there's like a car hanging. I don't know if you were like living with us when this happened. Have you heard about this story?
Yeah, I didn't. I think that probably happened when I was there.
There,
There a
so
lot of
this
shit, a
is
lot of crazy shit happened.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like one example. Like, so there's literally like a guy, his car was like mangled our fence and like was hanging into our yard and like couldn't back out because he was like fucking hanging into our yard. And like we called the police and then like a sheriff rolls up and like, like talks to the guy for a second, kind of kicks the tire. And he's like, all right, well, have a good night, good evening. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean, like, have a good evening? Like, this guy's hanging into our yard and can't back his fucking car out.
Uh huh.
Like, like what do you mean? Like, this guy's obviously impaired because of like drugs or alcohol or something. Like, why aren't you handling this? Like, fucking do something about it. And like, and that's just like that's a pretty mundane example because like it wasn't like a life or death situation. Like, I
Hmm.
feel like if you're calling the police because like you're getting murdered or like somebody's chasing you with a fucking gun, like there's a chance that it's already too late and it's not going to fucking do any good for you anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like there's so many instances where like if you call the police, either it's too late and it's not going to help you, or it's just like what's the fucking point because they're not going to do anything anyway, or it's going to end up harming you or someone that you love. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel about it.
No, I agree with all of that. I think, and this is
I
to
feel like
bring
I
it
kind of
back to
hit on a lot
something.
of points. So like I don't know if you want to like
Well,
say
okay, yeah.
something
So
about it.
so I think that I agree with you on many different faces of this statement, right? So I think that
Yeah.
the overall problem, and this is the problem I have with the legal system also, and the problem I have with American society in general, and maybe like just with humanity, is that we are reactionary. We
Mm-hmm.
always react to something. Something happens, and we react to it. We never like look out ahead and try to fix a problem. And so, like exactly what you said, right? Like you call the police, that's a reaction to something, and then the
Yeah.
police show up after the fact, and they can't fix it. Like I can think of lots of examples, right? Like my neighbor, the neighbor kids, like they like shooting their air guns at my dog, and
Yeah.
like if I call the police, first off they're not going to show up, and if they do show up, if I say they have a gun, they're going to show up and they're going to shoot all these fucking Mexican kids, right? And so, while I don't like these kids, I don't necessarily want them all to be executed by the police.
Yeah.
so
Seriously.
so I find myself like I just don't call the police. But here's the fucked up thing, right? If I just go outside and handle it myself, now who's gonna get the police called on them, and who's gonna be the one who gets a shitload of trouble?
Yeah. Put fucking prison. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're kids, and I can't hit a kid, right? So I actually think these guys aren't kids anymore, but still, like I don't want to go,
Yeah.
especially
And like
because I've been trained to fight. I don't want to go and injure somebody, and then have it come out like, oh well, actually this guy has spent the last like 4 years training to kill people, and it's like,
yeah.
okay, well you should have been able to handle yourself, so and I get
Yeah.
in a bunch of trouble.
No, I don't. I mean, like we've talked about this before, like with like my fucking adult neighbors who are like all
Yeah,
fucking like meth heads and shit, and like they're constantly like screaming at me and like threatening to fucking murder me or like kill my dogs, like do shit like that. And it's like, what the fuck's gonna happen? I'm gonna call the police, and then nothing's gonna happen because it's like, well, he didn't do anything, and it's like, I don't know. It's just crazy. So it's like, wait, so like I just have to wait until like I'm mortally fucking wounded and then like
yeah, yeah,
maybe you'll do something like I don't know.
exactly.
It just seems like like the police system is so flawed and broken that like I don't know, maybe it's just better not to even have it. Like I that's kind of what I feel. I don't know, like
Yeah.
of course like maybe we need some like peacekeeping element in society cuz like people obviously can't just fucking handle it, but I don't know, like maybe there's like a better solution.
So okay. Well, first off, I want to take a quick commercial break.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a minute, but I want to pick up right from where you left off. So we'll be back in a second after these words from our what's the word?
After these words from our sponsors.
Exactly. Okay, and we're back. Live streams are back.
All right.
All right. All right. So yeah, so I think I've thought about this a lot too, and um, I think there's two things. Like you made two really good points, right? The first is that I think that the police force is fundamentally broken, but it's also so deeply entrenched in society,
Yes.
in American society. I would say in society in general, but especially in the United States, because the police, for two reasons. One, the police is an arm of the ruling elite
Hmm.
that is used to protect themselves, right?
It's used to protect property, yeah.
Yeah, it's used to protect property. And something that's interesting, this is kind of going off, but something that's interesting I hear police say, and I've heard this from several police officers like that I've known personally. When they're out there, their number one job is to get back home at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's to like protect their gun, 'cause-
Exactly. They need to go back home to their family. And so
yeah,
the police is the job of the police is not to protect us, it's to protect themselves, which is why they shoot people because they
yeah,
don't want to fucking get killed in the line of duty. But okay, so my point was that the police are there to they're the enforcement arm of the ruling elite, whoever those
hmm,
ruling elite are. In our country, it happens to be old white people. In other
yeah,
countries, it's whatever their their version of old white people is.
yeah.
Uh,
Many cases, it's also old white people.
yeah. It tends to be old white people because that's how history worked out. But
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, and I think that having old white people isn't like a statement of racial superiority. I fucking hate the word race, but it's not saying white people are superior to everyone else.
yeah. They just
It's just
lucked
that,
out.
yeah, like they were in the right place at the right time, right? Like
Yeah,
I was listening to this really interesting discussion about why Neanderthals uh, didn't succeed, and basically the argument is that Homo sapiens made tiny incremental discoveries over time, and when the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens were both on the planet in the early days, that both of these groups were always on the edge of extinction.
uh-huh.
And what ended up happening is that Homo sapiens made just the tiniest little developments in something. Like, I don't know, like maybe like one guy figured out how to make his rock just that much sharper. And that
Yeah,
allowed him to cut the meat off a dead carcass, 10 seconds faster. And that 10 seconds allowed him to get away before a fucking saber-toothed cat came and ate him. And that allowed him to make another baby. And so now this Neanderthal population has 5 people. This one has 6 people. So the chances of this one, which has 20% more people, is that much more likely to survive. And
that's
so I think
literally
that,
like I feel like that thinking could literally be applied to like why are some people millionaires now?
oh
And
yeah,
like how
it's
how
it's
does some
just
people
luck.
beat poverty?
Yeah. And but humans, I think because humans have religion, right? Like the reason we have religion is because we don't like to think that we're out of control. I'm sorry. We don't like to think that everything's luck, and we tend to attribute all good things and bad things to a supreme deity.
Yeah.
Because it's too scary to think that it's all just luck of the draw. And so if you look over time, people have always been able to like say, oh, well, the reason we survived, it wasn't because it was just fucking dumb luck. It was because of something.
Yeah.
And I think
a lot of times, well, like, so like, I think in a lot of like religious societies, it's because like, oh, because God wanted us to do it. And I feel like in like American, I don't know if this is specifically American, but like you see it a lot with like self-made, quote unquote, self-made millionaires and stuff. Like they're like, oh, you know, like I just worked harder. You know, like I just, you know,
yeah,
I don't know. They kind of make it like a personal thing, like that they personally are just better. So like they were able to pull themselves out of it, whereas like other people didn't. They just wanted it more, you know. Like that's like the idea.
Okay, so I agree that in America it's really more centered on the person, but I think that's just a direct extension of religion, right? Because if there's a being that's so powerful that they could destroy the all creation or make all creation, and they decided to bless you with good fortune, that must mean you're super important, right?
Yeah. And
so I think it's easy to then quickly think like, oh, well, the reason for all of this is because I'm so amazing. So I'm gonna make a whole bank of like hundreds of fart sound effects. I only have 3 right now.
You gotta set it up so that it's just random whenever you hit the key, like a different type of fart sound.
Yeah, I wonder if I could make a random set on here. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Anyway, so
I don't know. We were talking about police or something like.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that I think that this idea of white supremacy comes from really just like you were just like super lucky and it just happened to happen to you. And like Europeans were the right place at the right time. It's not that Europeans are better than everybody else, but that's how they ended up being in control of so much of the world and at the top. And then of course, like, we all have this kind of like mentality of like, I got mine. And then they shut the door.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's just like, these are all just totally natural human things. And honestly, if some other group had stumbled upon the whatever, and they had been in charge, like, we would be bitching about some other group instead of Europeans.
It's really funny that like I got mine thing made me kind of think like I remember when I was in college, like I'd have friends that would, like they'd drop out or something because it's just, hard or whatever. Like they'd drop out for whatever reason. And I was always like very understanding because I'm like, yeah, man, like it's difficult. Like it's fucking just hard. And just take some time and then like come back when you're ready or whatever. And then like I graduated and then now I'm like, man, you know what? I fucking did it. Like, fuck you. I was able to fucking do it and I'm not special. So like, what's your fucking issue?
Yeah.
It's just like an extension of that, yeah.
Well, so I agree on both of those, right? Like on the one hand,
what are you just fucking lazy?
Oh my god! Hold on, have you seen this Blue's Clues thing recently?
Yeah, I actually have some thoughts on that. I don't know. Do you want to like say anything on that?
Hold on, wait. Let's finish up this cop thing. So
we'll come back to Blue's Clues.
I feel the same way. I think it's fucking hard. Like when you're in it, it's like you have a lot of sympathy for other people. But then when once you've done it, it's like, fuck, well, I did it.
Yeah.
And okay, but I don't know though. I have a hard time with this because we're comparing, I think, apples and oranges, right? Like on the one hand, we're talking about the brush of history, which is, covers thousands of years. And what you're discussing is just showing up to your college classes.
Yeah, that's true.
So, last semester, or was it 2 semesters ago? I don't know, whatever. I was in an online college course, and I haven't been in undergrad classes in a long time. And I was in these undergrad classes, and the people in it was a culture shock for me because I hadn't been around people that were in this age group, ever. And
yeah, I mean, pretty much like I guess like I'm like your only exposure to that.
Yeah, but the thing is, like you grew up around adults.
Yeah, older
so you
people,
are not
so like it's different.
Yeah. Anyway, so my exposure to these people, like it was shocking to me. Like they were just so entitled and so weak and so like so brittle, right?
Yeah.
And also so caustic. So like it was like all of the worst qualities. Like one, they could really dish it out. They could dish out the criticism and the insults, but they couldn't take it.
Cannot take it. Yeah.
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 On top of that, incredibly fragile in terms of like what they can stand up to. Like they need to be have their hands held for everything.
Yes.
Everything is like so. Like for example, like I remember there's this one student and she couldn't afford the textbook, and I think she cried during a class because the professor's like, well, I mean, you really need the text. I can't afford it, teacher. I can't. And so and the teacher was so like forgiving. It's okay, like we'll figure out some other solution. And then maybe 2 weeks,
they should have just been like, hey, like talk to me after class, like we'll figure something out,
But that's the thing; it's performative. Like we had talked about this last podcast, right? It's so performative. They like putting on the show, and the teacher did. The teacher, first off, the teacher's not from this country, so like I think didn't know how to was having a hard time understanding like the cultural nuance in the first place. But yeah, she's like, talk to me after class, and the girl's like crying during the Zoom podcast, the Zoom cast, or whatever. And so,
it's even worse than it's like during like a Zoom thing.
Yeah, and so then like I don't know, like a couple weeks later, the same student has to announce to everybody, "Oh, my family, we're all going to France this Friday. We'll be gone for 3 weeks."
Yeah, and it's like, what? Like you couldn't
afford the fucking textbook, but now your whole family's going to France for 3 weeks. And the reason she had to say this is because you have to show up to class, right? I'm not going to be able to make it to class because I'm going to be in France. Fucking kidding me? Like it clearly says in the syllabus you need to show up to class.
Yeah.
Oh, but professor, I just didn't read that part. I just didn't know. Right? And okay. Jesus. And then at the end of this, there's a same student at the end of this, also during the whole entire time. Oh, my computer's it's so old. I can't afford a new computer. It's just so old and I can't take care of it. That's why I always have to drop out of the Zoom calls because it's just so old. And then at the end of the semester, she gets on the Discord, guys, I'm selling my old computer. And it's like some like monster fucking gaming machine. Like it's a computer that I couldn't dream. It has one of these like $10,000 GPUs that people use for harvesting Bitcoin and shit, right? It's just an insane computer. And she's like, this is just my old shitty gaming computer. I'm getting a new computer. So does anyone want to buy it from me?
That's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. That's just one student, right? There were so many other examples. I could have a podcast just where I complain about
complain about millennials or about Gen Z people.
Yeah, these were Zoomers. These were too young. These are all people born after.
That's the next step for
after
millennials.
97.
That's the next step for millennials. Just do the thing that like baby boomers are doing right now. Like baby boomers and Gen X, like what they're doing right now, just like fucking complaining about everything that millennials do. That's the next step for millennials, is just a bitch about Gen Z.
I thought Gen X had just completely like checked out of existence. They're just like, oh,
I don't really know what the difference is. I know. I think they kind of have. I don't really know like what because like I don't know I don't know, like are our parents like, are they Gen X?
So I think I am on the cusp. I am a very young Gen X and a very old millennial.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then like you likewise are a very young millennial and a very old Zoomer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like the generational thing is weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I think like if you're born after like 96, 97, 98, like you're not part of a millennial anymore.
I think
I
don't
know.
I don't know. For me, I feel like the break off between like millennials and like Gen Z is like, do you remember 9/11?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, this is also our 9/11 special.
Yeah, I know. Dang, I forgot to mention that. I was going to mention that at the top of the show.
Let freedom ring. Yeah.
I know. Mission accomplished. Mission has been accomplished, though. We're out of Afghanistan now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, hold on.
I just want to take a moment to salute all those brave freedom fighters who flew the planes into the towers. Those were the real heroes of 9/11, I think.
Well, yeah, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. I saw
That's
this
true.
interesting thing. It was like 9/11 from the viewpoint of Afghanistanners. I don't know. What
I
do you
meant
call
to
those
read
people?
that. Yeah, I didn't read it.
Yeah, and they're like, "Holy fuck, what's happening? We didn't do this."
That must have been fucking. Yeah, I've heard that like whoever was in power at the time was like, hey, like, please, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we didn't do this. This wasn't like a state oriented thing. Like, this was just some fucking like, ragheads and caves. Like, please.
I remember like this is like reminds me of when I go outside. Like I went outside and my the peach tree had just been completely demolished. Like because we have my yard is small, so all of my trees are in containers, and so our peach tree had just been stripped bare, and a couple of the branches had been broken off. And I go outside and I see the dog, and also a lot of dirt had been dug out of the container, and I see the dog, and immediately I'm just like, I think it's the fucking dog. And I grab her by her neck and I slap her around like, don't fucking bite the fucking,
Yeah.
And then, okay, here's the best part. So then later that afternoon, I come outside and who do I see digging in the peach tree? The chicken.
It's the fucking cat. Oh,
it was a chicken.
Oh,
the chickens had denuded the tree and ripped out.
That's so funny. I've done that too. And
I was like, oh, and my dog is she's so sweet.
Yeah,
I mean, she does bad things, but she doesn't mean to. And anyway, I felt bad about that. I felt like that was my dog's 9/11.
Yeah,
she was Afghanistan. I was the United States.
Getting fucking beat because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's so, really the victimless crime: beating your dog.
The victimless crime. Okay, wait. So we've got way off the rails here. So I want to go back. We have the Blues Clues guy and the
I don't know. I don't know if we're ever gonna finish this like police like thread that we're on. I don't know. Do you want to like say your opinion on like defunding the police or whatever?
Well, okay. So I agree with you. I think that the police are shit, and that like really as they function now, they shouldn't be there. Yeah. But so and I also like I've railed against this for years, right? I fucking hate the legal system because it doesn't work.
It's set up to fuck people over. Like that's the whole. Yeah, it's set up to convict.
And if you happen to be a black person, like you're gonna get fucked, right? Like
you're screwed.
I've seen white dudes and black dudes do the same thing, and the black dude ends up in prison, and the white dude ends up with a slap on his wrist. Yeah. It's fucking nuts. And so I think the system just sucks. And but the thing is, like I cannot think of an alternate reality.
Yeah.
And the reason, the reason I can't think of an alternate system is because of our society. Because we live in a very heterogeneous society, it makes it really difficult, right? And so like I can think of lots of examples, right? Like so unfortunately there just is racial conflict in America. No matter how much you want it to go away, it won't go away. And I can give you like a great example, right? Like where I live, I am the minority. And like I think that there is a very real threat to me and my family. And my wife and I are not the same, quote unquote color, right? Yeah. And both of us are the minority in our neighborhood. There's a very real threat to our safety at all times. And I think that the only safeguard for us, which is a very thin safeguard, is the threat of possible retaliation by the police if something were to happen. And again, I think that's
your trump card as a cracker.
It is. Yeah. But I should say, because of where I live, if I call the police, they will not show up. They will not come because they know unless they send a bunch of guys in here, they're asking for trouble. And so I think that it's a problem, but I don't know what the solution is. And fuck, I just lost my thought. I was going to say something along those lines.
So I think I have something to say to this. So like, I think that like, could we kind of mention this where it's like we've had this system for so long. The same thing with like capitalism or whatever. Like we've had this system so long, and it's so ingrained in our society that this is just how things work. That even if we abolished it and had got rid of it, had figured some way to just get rid of it, and we're like, cool, let's start over, start fresh, let's figure this out. I think that we would end up with something that is very similar because like we're just as a society are trained to believe that like this is what we need, and it's easier to be like, look, well, like let's just go back to doing the same thing, and we'd end up with the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I agree. I agree 100% what they're saying about ending up with the same thing, and that is what we've seen happen in what was that fucking stupid shit where they had in like
are you
Portland?
talking about the autonomous zone?
Yeah, the autonomous zone, right?
Yeah, the Chaz or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chad. So
yeah, literally,
the Chaz,
that's a good example. Yeah, I don't know. You can. I think you probably know more about it. From what I understand was like they got rid of the police, and then they ended up with like a fucking armed militia, which is arguably worse than the police because there's even less accountability, and they were just going around fucking shooting like black guys in cars, like through windows and shit. That's my understanding of what happened, and it's like wow, like you literally abolished the police, and you had a completely like everyone was a liberal, and like you ended up with something that was even worse.
Yeah, you instantly create a new police state.
And I'm not saying that like that's always what will happen. I'm just saying like look, like here's a very real example of like we abolished it and then we ended up with something worse. It's almost like the idea of like the demon is almost better than like the demon you don't know, I guess. Is that the right like way of saying that?
Yeah, the devil you know is
devil you know, yeah.
The devil you don't. But so that's the quintessential example I think of too. Like when we try to get rid of the police, we instantly replace it with other police, and it's the same thing with law, right? Like whenever I hear somebody talk about getting rid of something, or like let's go back to the police. Let's just stick on police. Like whenever I hear about somebody talking about abolishing the police, they always talk about we're gonna have like like community councils that everyone's accountable to, and then they will run patrols in the you're still
that's you just described a police force.
Yeah, you're still giving power to some human over some other human.
So this is kind of an interesting concept because like I remember talking about this in one of like my econ classes. I don't remember the name of like the graph, but like there's like a graph where it's like when you were talking about like authoritarian regime change, which is a little bit different, but it's kind of the same idea. Like when we talk about authoritarian regime change, in order for that regime to be changed, you have to go through like a period of extreme instability and like just extreme, like it's going to be terrible. Like everyone's going to be dying. It's going to be war. Like it's going to be a very rough period of time. Yeah. And so like when that happens, like whenever like we start to inch towards that, like people go, oh shit, this sucks ass, and then just go back to like the devil that they know, which is the like authoritarian regime. You know what I'm saying? So like it's very difficult to get past that like barrier of like just things are going to be very rough for like a little like not even a little bit of time. Like this might be like a generation. Like it's going to be very extremely rough, but we might come out with something that's better. Might not though, and that's like the thing is like you might not come out with something better. You might just come out with like the same thing or something that's even worse. Yeah, it's very exhausting.
Well, and so you bring up an interesting point about it taking a generation, right? And something I just realized right now is like 20 years in the grand scheme of things isn't very long, right? Like if you read a history book, you'll often see like Abraham Lincoln like discovered how to masturbate in 18 blah blah blah, and then he blah 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 20 years later. They just skip over 20 years of his life.
It's like a fucking like short paragraph.
Yeah, and I think that 20 years in a human life is very difficult to endure. It is literally a generation, but 20 years in a history book is easy to step over. And so I think that it's like I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. Anyway, we had two viewers at one point. I was watching the viewers fall off as you were talking.
Ah, nice. I thought it's my fault. It's my fault.
This guy fucking sucks. Okay, police state. Yeah, so I think I agree. The police state thing could probably go on and on. I don't know what the alternative. Okay, so where I was going with this heterogeneous society thing, The only alternative I can think of is like in Japan, right?
Mhm.
In Japan, they have a very
So you're
high
saying we need the
conviction rate.
Yakuza?
Yeah, I'm basically saying the Yakuza, yes. So because in Japan, like the conviction rate is super high, right? If somebody gets charged with a crime, they're convicted. And why are they convicted? Well, because the Japanese police only take on crimes that they know they can get a conviction for.
Mhm.
Like, you know, like in America, we have like millions of lawyers or something, right? There's just like so many lawyers. In Japan, they are I don't know if it's in the constitution or what, but they can only have a certain number of attorneys per capita.
Oh wow, okay.
So they can only handle a certain amount of legal, you know, bullshit, which I think is an interesting idea. But what ends up practically what that means is that the police don't bring a lot of cases in, and the cases they do bring are only going to be sure to convict cases or high profile cases, and a lot of other stuff has to go by the wayside. And so people people still have problems, right? Like the neighbor maybe, for example, is like dumping, you know, shit or something like in someone's backyard because
Mhm.
people are assholes. And so since you can't call the police about that sort of thing, you end up just having the Yakuza come in and they moderate this shit.
Yeah, I think that's like that seems like a very bad idea.
Yeah, so I agree because now you have a criminal organization that is completely like, at least we have some nominal oversight of our police, even if it's bullshit, right? But you
Yeah,
have like absolutely no oversight of those guys. If they just do
yeah,
literally whatever they want. So
yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
pretty
I don't know that
crazy.
that's the answer, but I just that's like the alternative that comes up like in my mind as the one
Well, yeah,
like
because like Japan's like also like a modernized society and shit.
they're modernized and they're also very homogenous. When you know, everybody in Japan, it you know, like
Is Japanese.
feels Japanese, right? Like whereas
Uh-huh.
in like I've asked my students before. I have students in like I have students in like Russia, and I say like, when's the last time you ever saw an American? Never. When's the last time you ever saw a black person? And for them, a black person can mean like somebody who's Arab, you know?
Yeah, yeah, like a Moor. Like I think that's what they call them, Moors.
Yeah, I don't know, like the people from
Moorish.
Kazan and stuff.
It seems
And
it
like
seems like whenever I read like a French like book that's been translated or something, they talk about Moors a lot.
yeah. Well, and also like the
And they just mean a black person.
but they'll show me photos of like quote unquote black people, and these are just white people with black hair.
That's really funny.
And I'm like, what? Like, what the? This person is whiter than I am. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
So
that's
I don't
always
know, it's
been. I
weird.
mean, this is kind of a tangent, but that's always been something that's very funny to me. Is like I don't know how like you'll have like a friend who's like a Mexican or something, and then like they'll be talking about how white I am, and then like I'll like compare like my arm to theirs, and like they're literally lighter than me. You know,
Oh wait, hold
it's
on.
kind of funny.
Uh,
Oh, did I
I,
fall out?
I'm,
Do you hear what I was saying?
yeah, yeah, I heard you just fine. It's just I'm getting a. I had a.
Or like even like I don't know, like you and your wife, like I'm sure like you know she has very light skin. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, when you see photos of her with her family, well, first off, she's so tall, and then
Yeah,
also
yeah.
her skin is so like to you know compared to me, like her skin is very tan, but compared to her family, she's like a ghost, just
That's really funny.
floating in the background. You know what's crazy
Yeah,
is like
here's
when
the
I
ghost that
compare.
haunts our house.
I know. Well, when I compare my kids, who I don't think of as being very brown, but when I compare them to my brother's kids, his kids are
Yes.
like they're like made of like cream cheese or something,
Yeah.
like sour cream. My kids look like they're brown, like burned toast.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, anyway, I want to move on to this Blues Clues thing.
Yeah. I don't know how long have we been talking. Maybe this will be like the last one for the
Yeah, this
for
is
the.
yeah, this is. I try to stick to like roughly half-hour intervals.
All right.
Like,
Yeah.
hold
Well, I
on,
don't know.
hold
Do you
on.
want
I'm
to
trying to
introduce it?
Blues Clues video. I'm trying to. So first off, I've never. I am too old to have watched Blues Clues. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, because I
Okay, wait,
remember
hold
sending
on.
it.
Let me just play a little bit of this. Oh, hold wait, it's YouTube.
Yeah,
So
this
it's
is
going to
fair
be an
use.
ad. Wait, there's an ad. Let me take off the ad. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. Man, fucking YouTube ads. That said, YouTube, put some ads on our shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, here we go. So listen to this for a little bit.
Next up, Blue's Clues. It's been 25 years
God.
since the Nickelodeon
What the
series
fuck?
starring.
I think
Steve
of the
and his
actual
buddy Blue
clips
hit
on
the
like
small
Twitter
screen
or
to
something.
celebrate the big
Like if you go on
moment.
like the Nick Jr.
Student
Twitter.
Oh, here you go.
And jobs and families, and some of it has been kind of hard. You know, I guess I just wanted to say that after all these years, I never forgot you. Ever.
Oh my god. Okay. So
Yeah, I don't know what. So that was the thing that I was gonna bring up because like I remember I sent you this clip, and I was like, this is fucking weird. But then I was like, oh, like you don't have the same experience with this like character that like people that are my age do.
yeah, I don't even. I mean, I know who he is. I've seen Blue's Clues, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
watch it playing in the background. But to me, like, I just don't get it. It's just like fucking weird.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm talking to people like my age because like for people my age, this was like the quintessential like children's program like when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
So like everyone has like like an experience with this show, and a lot of like I think it's fucking creepy. I like the clip, like the video to me feels fucking weird. You know what I mean?
So even you think it's weird?
I think it's very weird because it's like it to me. It feels like it's like this like because like that was the word I was looking for. Like people my age had this weird like parasocial relationship with this guy. Do you know what that means?
Yeah. Where
weird. It's like a fake like it's not you have a relationship with this person that like doesn't know who you are because they're like on TV. Yeah. And like it's just it's very
we talked
weird.
about this. We talked about this during our last show. Like, why would people listen to our podcast? It's because they're lonely, right?
Yeah.
Get your fat ass back here.
Yeah.
So that's
this
is what it made me think of. To me, listening to this Blue's Clues guy, it almost sounded like a dad who had like walked out on his kids, or like a child molester who like molested a kid and is like, oh hey, I know I disappeared suddenly from your life, but I'm back now. Hey.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me too. It was very weird. Like it almost had the tone of like I don't know, like I have this image in my mind of like like a girl going to like her family reunion or something, and her uncle being like, wow, you like her uncle that she hasn't seen in like 15 years being like, wow, you've really grown up. You want to, hang out? I got some vinyls. We should go listen to some vinyls together, in my apartment.
I got a vape.
It's very fucking weird. I don't know, like fuck this guy. Like it's just weird because it's weird for this guy to be like oh and I never stopped caring about you. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah,
you're not this like person that was in any of our lives. You're a fucking TV person. You're a TV character.
Yes, I agree.
It's very fucking weird.
When he said he never stopped caring, that was one of like the things that really got it for me. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Who are you fucking weirdo?
Like on one hand, it's like oh, like I guess it's nice that this guy's like trying to like say like this nice like thing to like oh, you guys turned out. Don't worry about it. Things are gonna be okay. But also, it's like what the fuck? Like who are you? Like this is weird.
You don't know anything about me.
Yeah, you don't know who the fuck I am. It's very creepy.
Yeah, and so okay, here's the thing though. So I felt like it was creepy, and so I posted some stuff, and I'm like, what is this fucking shit? You know? And people like, let me see. Hold on.
No, people love this shit. They love this.
One guy said
they love that he
Somebody said, "You're a creepy, condescending guy. Pretty sure you'd like watching a show about yourself."
Oh, to you?
Yes. Oh my god.
Okay, whatever.
I know, like, oh yeah, it hurts my feelings. Okay, but so earlier in the live stream, we were talking about Zoomers, right? And about how like I had taken a class with some Zoomers, and it was so like the cultural differences were so stark. They were so fragile. They needed someone to like carry them to the finish line, and then like stroke their hair and tell them it's okay and reward them, and just like this is what I feel like this is. Like, why do you, an adult, need this fucking weird Blue's Clues guy to come in and tell you that you turned out okay? You don't know that yourself?
So you know what's funny? So yeah, I think that that's a valid criticism of like Zoomers, but also I think that this exists in your like millennials as well as like Gen X and even like fucking baby boomers. Because like I don't know, I was watching like this documentary on Netflix about Bob Ross, and
Yeah.
it's like literally the same thing. Like he'd be like do some event where he's painting in the park as like a publicity thing,
Yeah.
and like thousands of people would show up and be like trying to show him their paintings and just get like validation from this guy. And like the same thing with like I don't know, like another like children's program guy like Mr. Rogers. It's the same exact thing. Like people have this weird like parasocial relationship with these like TV characters, you know what I mean? And they try to seek validation from them. And I don't think that that's specifically an issue with like Gen Z. I think that that exists in like other generations as well.
So maybe the problem here is me.
Yeah, I think
Because
it's specifically you. Like you're just like these people are faggots, you know.
because like for example, I used to I've written some books, right?
Uh,
And so when I was writing, I really tried to get into the writing community. And
oh, I remember you
like
telling me about this. Yeah.
and everyone is like if you painted a picture, would you take your painting to another person who you don't even know, just some fucking rando off the internet, and would you say, "Could you just look at my painting and tell me what's wrong with it, and then tell me all the things I can do to change my painting so that you like it?"
Yeah, I
Would
don't
you?
know. I think that it exists in a different. Well, so I think that in the writing community, like the idea of like having like a critique like thing where it's like an online like, hey, like check out my writing, what do you think of it? Or like check out my painting, like, you know, is there something that's and like if you know you could see somebody's painting and be like, oh well, you know, like your perspective is off, you know, like then it kind of gives it like a weird look, or like maybe like you blended this area too much so it doesn't look good. But like I feel like that's different than like what you're talking about, because like I don't know, like do you want to go on like what like the
Well,
things
yeah.
that
So
they were talking
let me
about?
try to give you an example, and I wish I had a good example. I don't have one. Uh,
I because
but
I remember you telling me about this. It was like people would be like, oh well, you know, you don't have enough people of like you don't have enough disabled people of color in your writing, and it completely invalidates your writing. Like they weren't arguing that like structurally it was like bad writing. They were arguing that it was like the content was bad and they didn't agree with it, so it
yeah,
made it
okay,
bad.
and that's exactly what I was saying. So
Yeah.
like I do, like obviously, like with my writing, I try to have other people look at it so that they can tell me if I have spelling and grammar mistakes. They
Yeah.
can tell me if there are plot
Or like
holes.
is the diction here weird? You know,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
exactly. But I can tell you, like most, generally speaking, when I write something, I write it like that because that's my idea. That's what I want to be there. And
Yeah.
so, and of course, like I'll look back at stuff I wrote now, 5, 6 years ago, and I'll think, like this fucking sucks. But it's because I'm at a different place. Like I'm a different person now. What
Yes.
I'm telling you, like with the writing community that people were complaining about, it was exactly what you're saying. Like, so like let's say I'm writing a fantasy novel about a place that does not exist, right? It's a
Yes. Yeah.
fantasy. And then people would come back and they'd say exactly right. There's not enough BIPOC, disabled, gender queer people in your writing. And I'm like, well, I'm not writing a fucking novel about disabled queer people. I'm writing a novel about like a guy who fucking like kills trolls or something.
Yeah.
Like, why would that be your critique? Tell me if I have some spelling errors, you fucking pussy. So
Yeah.
I like that's what I really dislike about the writing community. It was just like it was so crazy, and it was constant like that. Like I remember there's this one writer, and I have all these tweets saved somewhere. This lady had written like an entire novel. Like it had taken, which I want to say, like writing a novel is not that hard, but for some people it's very difficult. And so this lady had taken like 5 years of her life to write this novel, right?
Yeah. I remember you sending me this. It was
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
And then she got it published and everything, like with a real publisher. So like this was a legit thing. This wasn't, she had made it. She had got
Yeah,
someone to publish this
that's
novel.
like that's a huge achievement.
Yeah,
Like to like get published by like an actual publisher, like you know.
yeah. And she somebody critiqued her novel like it was like some sort of bullshit thing, like there aren't enough queer, like gender queer people in your novel or something, or something like that. And her novel it wasn't about that subject matter. And she pulled her own novel. She like fell on her own sword saying, I can't publish this novel. She went to the publisher, had it like all like, so they didn't go through with publishing it, the whole thing. I was thinking, it's crazy that your life's work, you weren't confident in your own shit. You had to have someone else like tell you that it'd be okay or something. I don't know. It was
and
nuts.
you know what's really funny? So like I don't remember exactly. And I guess maybe this is bad, but like it seems to me that like this writer was like an Asian woman too.
It was an Asian lady, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm right. Like it is. So it's like you're attacking somebody who's like a person of color voice, like in the writing community. Like, isn't that bad? I don't know. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. Like liberals love doing that. Liberals love turning on themselves. We talked about
we talked about this last episode, I think.
And I think that's good sometimes, but also it's just fucking crazy. Or like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like people just, and also like liberals post the craziest shit. Like,
yes.
Everybody posts craziest, but like, because we talked about this, right? Like yesterday with the illiberal, like, liberalism, where it's like, you can be anything. You can have any gender pronoun, but only the gender pronouns I tell you can have.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. That's just as bad as if you tell me I have to be a man or a woman.
I don't expect some cracker cisgender to understand, so I'm just going to tune you out.
Oh my God. That was another thing that just blew my mind about. I think we talked about this when I joined the Discord and they're like, you have to choose a gender pronoun.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Leave me the fuck alone.
I had an experience recently where I was talking to a friend who was like asking for like a book recommendation, and I don't know, like I like recommended some like Charles Bukowski book or something, and she was like, yeah, I know, and she was like, I don't really want to listen to some white male writer talk about something, and it's like what? Okay, I guess like if you want to limit your writing or limit your like consumption of stuff based on like the race of somebody, like that's cool, whatever.
Yeah, that's something that I think is very interesting. Liberals who just like conservatives, like I'm not going to read something by some queer black, like a liberal saying like, oh, I don't want to read something because it's written by a white man or whatever. I'm saying white man. It could be anything.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same. You're doing exactly the same thing. You know nothing about that person, you fucking retard.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, let's cut it off, and we're gonna stop the live streams. And if you want to pick up on this show, if you found what we're saying
to our Patreon
that interesting, subscribe to our Patreon, Linktree/CollegeEducatedWhites. We actually post a lot of shit on Patreon, so if you want to get on there and interact with us.
Literally like double of so it's like a 1-to-1 match for episodes basically.
Yeah. The Patreon episodes aren't as long sometimes they're longer.
And we usually meander into talking about Dune for an hour or woodworking or something.
Or woodworking.
But they're probably more enjoyable than us like bitching about politics. So,
Yeah, seriously.
That's
all right,
something
anyway.
to look forward to.
So also, guys, make sure that you can, shoot us some emails. You can
send us a DM. You can add us at
OnlyFans. Your account has been rejected.
Has it?
Verification by additional social media is required at this time. You may complete this step by linking your... I fucking did link my Twitter account. Oh my God.
That's so fucking gay.
Man,
Jesus
fuck
Christ.
OnlyFans. You let... I don't know. It's like, what a piece of shit.
We should just post all of our feet pics on our Reddit.
Oh yeah, we have a Reddit. Oh dang, I gotta put this shit on Reddit. Hold on. I'm always forgetting to post all this fucking... There's too many... I need to have some app where I send it a link. There's probably some aggregator where I give it a link and then it just automatically aggregates this shit all out to everything.
Do you remember that episode of The Office where he creates Woof, and it's basically that, where it's just you send a tweet and then it also faxes it to somebody and emails it to somebody.
Yeah, and it had like goes through everything. That's what I need.
Yeah.
I need some fax machines. I always remember to do the Reddit shit after our thing's over. Okay, anyway, hold on. Let me just knock this out real quick. Live streaming. Not that nobody follows us on Reddit anyway.
I don't even know. Is that even how Reddit works? I thought that you just post on boards. I didn't know that like you could follow like an individual.
We have our own subreddit. It's r/CEW podcast.
That
it would have been longer,
yeah.
but they had we have one member, but 3 of them are online.
Wow.
Reddit's stupid. Only nerds go on Reddit. My husband and I got into a car accident. I tried to call my dad, but he hung up on me, so I texted him to let him know.
Am I the asshole?
Fucking hate Reddit. Oh, we got a message. What's our message? You're receiving an automated message. You've become a moderator in your first community. Congratulations. Cool. All right. So, yeah, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/collegeeducatedwhites, or go to our link tree for all of our pertinent links. Goodbye. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we say goodbye, did we have any recommendations? Recommendations will be on Patreon. If you want some recommendations, go check us out.
Yeah, we'll
Patreon.
talk about recommendations. That'll be the first thing.